Welcome back to the deep dive. You've handed us quite a stack of sources again.
We certainly have.
And our mission, as always, is to really dig in, extract the crucial knowledge, maybe find some surprising insights so you can feel genuinely well-informed.
And today, we're tackling a big one, a really big one, the 1997 film Titanic.
Right. And this isn't just, watching an old movie again.
No. It's about analyzing this huge cultural moment, this cinematic event, this financial phenomena that really defined the late 90s.
So our deep dive is focusing on that colossal success, but also the frankly terrifying production complexity.
Absolutely terrifying.
And the historical grounding, or maybe the lack of it sometimes. We need to figure out how this movie, which everyone predicted would be a total disaster.
A sinking ship, financially speaking.
Exactly. How did it become the first film ever to cross that billion-dollar mark? That's really the core question we need to unpack.
It still feels like maybe the biggest gamble Hollywood ever took. I mean, just look at the basic stats. You've got Leonardo DiCaprio, Kate Winslet.
Huge stars eventually, but maybe not quite then.
Well, DiCaprio was definitely rising. Winslet, less so internationally. But yeah, backed by people like Billy Zane, Kathy Bates, Bill Paxton, and the budget.
The budget. $200 million. Unheard of back then.
Completely record-breaking. It just blew everything else out of the water.
And if you break that down, what does that even mean? $200 million? That's well over $1 million for every single minute of screen time.
Yeah, think about that. Over $1 million a minute. For a period drama, not a sequel, not some known action franchise.
It's just an insane bet.
But it paid off. Oh, boy, did it pay off. In a way that completely reset studio thinking. That initial worldwide gross was over $1.84 billion.
The first $2 billion.
The very first. And then with the re-releases, the 3D versions and anniversaries,
right.
The total haul is now past $2.264 billion. Just staggering. And remember, it held the title of highest grossing film ever for 12 years.
Until Cameron beat himself with Avatar.
Exactly. And the money was matched by the awards, the critical acclaim, at least initially.
Yeah, 14 Oscar nominations. That ties all about Eve. Just incredible.
And then it won 11, tying Ben-Hur, including Best Picture, Best Director.
So you've got this unbelievable risk, unbelievable reward, and, massive industry validation. It's quite the story.
It really is. To understand how it even happened, we have to go back to James Cameron's specific drive here.
Right. This wasn't just, what's my next movie?
No, not at all. It came from somewhere deeper.
Yeah.
A personal passion, really rooted in history and, crucially, in exploration.
Yeah, the sources are clear on this. His fascination wasn't primarily filmmaking at the start. It was deep-sea exploration, shipwrecks.
He called the Titanic the Mount Everest of shipwrecks. That's the prize he wanted.
So his first goal wasn't even the movie. It was funding an expedition to actually dive the real wreck.
Precisely. He described it as a mental restlessness. He needed to see it, to explore it. The film was almost, the excuse to get the funding for the dive.
So how did he sell that to the studio? Fox executives must have been expecting what, Terminator 3?
Probably. And he comes in with this incredibly short pitch. Romeo and Juliet on the Titanic.
Just that.
Just that. You can imagine the room. Skepticism doesn't quite cover it.
A period romance. From the action guy.
Exactly. They doubted it would sell. But Cameron was smart. He tied the budget directly to authenticity. He basically said, look, we can spend X amount on models and CGI, or we can spend, say, X plus 30% and actually go shoot footage at the real wreck using the academic Mstislav Keldysh.
So he made the expedition part of the movie's cost structure. Clever.
Very. And actually diving the wreck, seeing it down there, that changed everything for him.
How so?
He said he felt this immense mantle of responsibility to the people who died.
Yeah.
It shifted from just recreating an event to telling, as he put it, a great novel that really happened.
So the history needed an emotional core for the audience.
Right. And that's where Jack and Rose come in. That fictional romance became the engine. He figured the audience needed to fall in love with them.
So that when the disaster hits and their love is destroyed,
you feel the loss. You mourn the real people through them. It makes the history personal, devastating.
He called it a love story with a fastidious overlay of real history. That nails it.
It does. And he even put a character in the film to represent the opposite view, Brock Lovett.
The treasure hunter.
Yeah, the guy who's just focused on the diamond, the technical stuff. He misses the human tragedy until old Rose tells her story. He's kind of the audience's surrogate, learning that lesson.
And that fastidious overlay, that took serious work.
Oh, incredible amount. 6 months of pure research before they even got close to filming. passenger lists, crew manifests, creating this super detailed timeline.
Verified by historians, too, right?
Absolutely. They got Harlan and Wolff, the original builders, to share blueprints that had been lost for decades. That was huge for the set design.
And he wasn't shy about borrowing, apparently, from other Titanic films?
No, he acknowledged pulling elements from A Night to Remember, the 1958 film. Things like the lively party in third class, the musicians playing on deck. Iconic images he felt worked dramatically.
So the research is intense. Then comes the build, the scale required. It's mind-boggling.
They literally had to build a new studio. Fox created Baja Studios down in Rosarito, Mexico, just for this.
And the centerpiece was that giant water tank.
The 17-million-gallon Horizon tank.
Yeah.
Essential. It gave them that 270-degree ocean view, made it feel like they were really isolated out at sea. No buildings popping up in the background.
And the ship itself
No,
built
it's-
to full scale, almost.
Almost full scale,
Yeah.
which is just breathtaking to think about. But, pragmatic choices were made. Sections the camera wouldn't see were left out, filled in later with digital
And
effects.
some things were shrunk.
The lifeboats and funnels,
Yeah.
deliberately scaled down by about 10%, probably for handling, maybe visual composition.
But the key sets, the ones you remember.
Oh, no expense spared there. The grand staircase,
Yeah.
painstakingly recreated from those blueprints and photos. Though, interestingly, they had to make it wider
Wider. Why?
by about 30% and reinforced with steel, partly for filming logistics, getting cameras in there, but also crucial for those big flooding scenes later on, needed to hold up.
Right. Every detail, down to the cutlery having the white Star Line logo.
Total commitment to authenticity on screen.
Okay, so pre-production is this massive, meticulous effort. Then the actual filming starts and, well, things get notoriously difficult.
And that's putting it mildly.
Yeah.
Let's start with casting the leads. Even that had its own share of drama.
Finding Jack Dawson.
Right. The casting director, Mally Finn, found Leonardo DiCaprio. He was only 21, kind of hot, but not the megastar yet. Cameron wanted someone with that old Hollywood feel, like a Jimmy Stewart or Gregory Peck.
And he turned down some big names.
Apparently, Matthew McConaughey was considered. Tom Cruise was interested, but way too expensive, especially with the budget already looking scary.
And Leo himself wasn't sure.
Reportedly, yeah. He initially refused to do a reading for the romantic scenes. Didn't see himself as that kind of lead.
But Cameron saw something.
He saw that star quality, that charisma. He basically said he knew Leo was the guy in a split second during casting. Pushed hard for him.
And Kate Winslet for Rose. Different story there.
Completely different. She went after that role hard. Gwyneth Paltrow, Claire Danes, apparently they turned it down.
Really?
Yes, Winslet just bombarded Cameron. Daily notes, phone calls. Famously told him, I am Rose. I don't know why you're even seeing anyone else.
That takes guts.
It does, and that determination clearly paid off. But maybe she needed it because the shoot itself sounds like an ordeal.
A total nightmare, by most accounts, planned for 138 days.
Stretched to 160, ran right through summer 96 into spring 97. And the condition,
Long hours, cold water.
yeah, in those tanks in Baja, people were constantly getting sick. Colds, flu, even kidney infections from being submerged for so long.
And Cameron's reputation on set.
Legendary, uncompromising, hard-charging perfectionist. They called him the 300-decibel screamer.
Ouch.
The crew even had a nickname for his demanding side, Meej,
Yeah.
Jim spelled backwards.
Winslet chipped her elbow and said she was actually scared of him sometimes.
She did, yeah. Though later she also praised his vision, to be fair. But the pressure was clearly intense.
That pressure cooker atmosphere apparently led to one of the most iconic scenes being shot really early, kind of unexpectedly.
The sketching scene, yeah, where Jack draws Rose. The main sets weren't ready yet, so they shot this intimate, crucial scene almost first.
And Cameron said the real-life nervousness actually worked.
Yeah, he felt it gave the scene this nervousness and an energy and a hesitance that was perfect for Jack and Rose at that moment.
And Cameron did the drawing himself, the hands we see.
Yep. Adds another layer to the mythology of the production.
Speaking of mythology and chaos, the chowder incident, we have to mention that.
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah.
Utterly bizarre. Someone, apparently disgruntled, laced the crew's clam chowder with PCP.
PCP?
Yeah. Send over 80 people to the hospital. Hallucinations, chaos. It sounds like something out of a movie itself. Definitely not your typical on-set catering issue.
So delays, sickness, budget soaring, now drug-laced chowder. Fox executives must have been losing their minds.
Full-blown panic mode. The budget hits $200 million. They're looking at this 195-minute runtime, thinking fewer screenings per day means less money.
So they demand cuts.
They wanted him to cut an entire hour out of the film.
And Cameron's response is legendary.
Absolutely. He basically told them, you want to cut my movie, you're going to have to fire me. You want to fire me, you're going to have to kill me.
Wow. Standing his ground.
Totally. And to kind of appease them, or at least reduce the financial pressure and keep control, he made a massive personal gamble.
He gave up his salary.
His entire $8 million salary. Plus, he forfeited his percentage points on the film's initial gross profit.
Which the studio execs probably thought was worthless anyway.
They dismissed it as an empty gesture. Yeah. They were convinced the film would bomb. Turned out to be maybe the most lucrative empty gesture in history for Cameron.
And the cost still forced Fox to bring in help.
Yeah, $200 million was just too much for one studio to risk. They approached Paramount.
So they ended up splitting it.
Yep. Paramount co-financed and took North American distribution. Fox kept international. A deal born out of desperation that, ironically, spread the eventual massive profits around.
Okay, so the film gets made. Now let's talk about how it balances the fiction and the history. The framing device is key here.
Absolutely crucial. Starting the film in 1996 on that research vessel, the Keldysh, with Brock Lovett.
The treasure hunter looking for the necklace.
Right, the fictional heart of the ocean. And then we meet Old Rose, played by Gloria Stewart, who was 87 at the time. She becomes the narrator.
And Lovett is kind of our entry point, focused on the diamond, the money.
Exactly. Old Rose's story is designed to shift his perspective and ours. To teach that lesson about the pricelessness of life, of human connection over material wealth.
Which is why she drops the diamond at the end.
Right. And Cameron apparently cut a scene where Lovett actually sees her do it. He realized, correctly I think, that by that point, the audience doesn't care about Lovett's reaction to the necklace anymore. We care about Rose's story.
The fictional characters themselves are pure archetype, really.
Totally. Jack Dawson, poor, free-spirited artist from Chippewa Falls, embodies freedom, passion.
Rose DeWitt Brucater, the trapped 17-year-old socialite, forced into this engagement with Cal Hockley to save her family's status.
Cal Hockley, the arrogant, wealthy fiancé, the perfect villain for this kind of story.
And there's an interesting footnote about Jack the real Jay Dawson.
Yeah, purely coincidence, apparently. The filmmakers didn't know until after the movie came out that there was a real Jay Dawson buried in the Titanic cemetery in Halifax. Just adds to the mystique.
And Cal gets his comeuppance, kind of retroactively.
Old Rose mentions it at the end, yeah. He lost his fortune in the 1929 crash and committed suicide. Ties up that loose end, fictionally at least.
Okay, so those are the fictional anchors. Then you have the portrayals of real historical figures where things get interesting and sometimes controversial.
Definitely. You've got Margaret Molly Brown, played wonderfully by Kathy Bates, shown accurately as new money, a bit ostracized but warm towards Jack.
And the film shows her taking charge of Lifeboat 6.
Yeah, arguing with Quartermaster Hitchens to go back for survivors, which aligns with her known reputation for assertiveness.
Thomas Andrews, the ship's designer. Victor Garber.
Portrayed as this decent, heartbroken man, seen in the first-class smoking room, lamenting his failure to build a strong enough ship.
But that's maybe a bit of legend.
It's a famous image, but yeah, historical accounts suggest, while he might have been there briefly, he was seen actively helping with the evacuation later on. Still a tragic figure, just maybe more active till the end.
The most controversial one, though, was First Officer Murdoch.
Ewan Stewart's portrayal, yes. He's the officer on the bridge when they hit the iceberg. And in the film, during the chaos of the sinking, he shoots a couple of passengers in a panic, then shoots himself.
Which caused a huge outcry.
Absolutely. His family, particularly his nephew, protested very publicly, argued it tarnished the reputation of a heroic officer. Fox ended up apologizing and donating to a memorial fund in his name.
But Cameron defended it.
He did. He argued he wasn't trying to slander Murdoch, but to show an honorable man under impossible pressure, making horrific choices in a panic. He pointed out how efficient Murdoch actually was, launching more lifeboats than his counterpart. It was meant to show the tragedy of command, perhaps.
A fine line to walk?
A very fine line. Then there's J. Bruce Ismay, the White Star Line director.
Jonathan Hyde. Portrayed as pretty villainous, pushing Captain Smith to go faster.
The film implies that heavily, though there's not much solid evidence he actually influenced the speed. But he was widely seen as a coward for getting into a lifeboat, collapsible sea, and surviving. That part is historically accurate to public perception.
Some portrayals feel very true emotionally, though. The Strauss couple.
Isidore and Ida Strauss, the elderly wealthy couple. The film shows Ida refusing to leave Isidore, saying, "Where you go, I go," and them embracing in their cabin as it floods.
Which maybe wasn't exactly how they died.
Reports suggest they were last seen sitting calmly on deck chairs, but the film captures the documented essence of their devotion, Ida's refusal to leave him. It's emotionally true, if not factually precise in that moment.
And the baker, Charles Bouvian.
Yes, the chief baker. The film shows him clinging to the stern railing, drinking brandy.
Which was real.
Apparently so. His own testimony confirmed he rode the ship down like an elevator and hardly felt the cold, likely due to the significant amount of alcohol he'd consumed. A bizarre survival story.
One last crucial element, the music.
Can't talk about Titanic without the score. James Horner stepped in after Enya declined.
Enya was asked first. Interesting.
Yeah. Horner brought in the Norwegian singer Sissel Kyrkjebø for those haunting vocals. And the soundtrack.
Huge. Biggest selling orchestral soundtrack ever, right?
Diamond certified. Over 11 million copies. The music became inseparable from the film's emotional impact.
Okay, so production wraps, it's hugely over budget, delayed. The buzz is not good initially.
No, the delay from summer to December 97 fueled all sorts of speculation. The press was practically sharpening its knives, calling it a guaranteed flop, a disaster movie in the wrong sense.
But then word started to shift.
A key preview screening in Minneapolis got incredibly positive reactions. That word of mouth started to build, counteracting the negative press just before release.
And the box office performance?
Yeah.
It wasn't a typical blockbuster opening.
Not at all. It was all about the legs, the longevity. It didn't have a monstrous opening weekend, relatively speaking. It just kept going.
That stat about its highest grossing day is amazing.
Isn't it? Made $13 million on Valentine's Day, 1998. That's more than 8 weeks after it opened. It showed people weren't just seeing it once. They were going back, bringing friends, making it an event.
Which led to those records. #1 for 15 straight weeks in North America.
A record that still stands. Fastest to $300 million, beating Jurassic Park by weeks. And of course, the first to crack $1 billion worldwide.
And the audience. Who was driving this?
Initially, there was a lot of talk about Leomania, the huge draw for young women. And that was definitely part of it.
And not the whole story.
No way. The repeat viewing rate was over 20%. Normal was maybe 5% for a hit. This crossed demographics. The romance pulled people in, the spectacle kept them there, the positive buzz just snowballed.
Even with that long run time, 3 hours plus.
Yeah, which meant fewer showings per day. Theaters were adding midnight screenings just to meet demand. And those midnight shows were packed week after week.
So commercially, it's undeniable. Critically, though, much more divided, especially about the writing.
Oh, absolutely. You had high praise initially. Roger Ebert loved it. Flawlessly crafted, spellbinding.
But then the backlash came.
Swift and pretty harsh. Big critics like Richard Corliss, Kenneth Turan, they tore into the script. Called it hackneyed, derivative, unbelievably badly written. Said it was just melodrama for teenagers.
Turan basically said it only won Oscars because it made so much money.
He did. Cameron naturally fired back.
He defended the script's simplicity.
Yeah, he argued it worked because it used archetypes, dealt with universals of human experience and emotion. He directly accused Turan of mistaking archetype for cliché, essentially saying, these stories resonate because they're fundamental, not because they're unoriginal.
And culturally, Cameron's approach seems to have won out.
You could argue that I'm the king of the world became instantly iconic. Even now that it's been 84 years, meme is everywhere. The film burrowed deep into pop culture.
Okay, let's pivot slightly and connect the movie's spectacle back to the real ship, because the film's grandeur relies on the reality of Titanic.
Absolutely. The ship itself, Hull 401, built alongside its sister Olympic in Belfast. The details of its design really show that class system the film highlights.
Like the lifeboats on the boat deck?
Exactly, leaving a gap in the first-class area so the view wasn't spoiled by these utilitarian objects. Says a lot about priorities.
And the different decks clearly marked status. A deck was just for first-class promenade.
Entirely. Over 500 feet long. Then you go down to E-deck, and you have cabins for all 3 classes, all connected by that long corridor they called Scotland Road.
Keeping everyone in their designated zones.
Pretty much. And the luxury in first class was just astounding for the time. The grand staircase, obviously, but also the swimming pool, the Turkish baths on F-deck.
Even third class was better than many other ships.
Yeah, private cabins instead of big dormitories. Still basic, but a step up.
And it wasn't just pretty, it was technologically advanced.
Hugely. Complex heating, ventilation, even distilling fresh water from seawater. And that Marconi wireless set.
State of the art. powerful, could transmit over 350 miles.
With dedicated operators, Jack Phillips and Harold Bride. That radio room becomes absolutely critical later.
The voyage itself had a shaky start, didn't it?
Almost disastrous. Right out of Southampton, Titanic's massive size created suction that pulled the moored liner SS City of New York away from the dock.
Snapped its mooring lines.
Yep. Captain Smith had to throw the engines full astern. They missed colliding by only about 4 feet. Delayed departure by an hour. A really bad omen.
And then the conditions on the night of the sinking, brutal.
Exceptionally so. Clear, flat, calm, which actually made spotting icebergs harder. But the water temperature, -2 Celsius, 28 Fahrenheit, way colder than usual. That extreme cold was deadly.
The lifeboat situation is often misunderstood, too.
Right. They actually had more lifeboats than legally required at the time, 20 in total. But the regulations were based on outdated tonnage rules and didn't account for passenger numbers.
Enough for maybe half the people on board.
Roughly. And the thinking then wasn't that lifeboats would hold everyone until rescue. It was that they'd ferry people to a nearby rescue ship. A flawed assumption, tragically.
And the survival rates confirm the film's focus on class.
Starkly. Only 3% of first-class women died. Compare that to 54% of third-class women.
Wow.
All the children in second class survived. But 52 out of 79 kids in third class were lost.
Even first-class men died at a higher rate than third-class women.
Yes. Your ticket absolutely determined your odds. It's brutal, but true.
One major historical point the film got right, unlike earlier versions.
The breakup. Showing the ship splitting in two before sinking. Previous films often showed it sinking intact, but the wreck discovery confirmed it broke apart violently. The bow and stern sections are quite far apart on the seabed.
But Cameron did omit one significant historical element.
The SS Californian, the nearby ship that saw Titanic's distress rockets but didn't properly respond, largely because its radio operator was asleep.
He filmed scenes about it.
He did, exploring that controversy, but he cut them. Said he wanted the Titanic story to feel self-contained, focused on the people on that ship, their emotional reality, rather than bringing in this external blame game.
A narrative choice.
Exactly, and focusing on that internal reality. The sources mention what's left at the wreck site now.
Just shoes and boots.
Mainly. The bodies, clothes, all consumed by marine life over the century. Just these poignant pairs of shoes marking where someone came to rest. It's incredibly haunting.
So the film endures. The awards, the cultural impact.
Undeniable. 11 Oscars, 4 Grammys for the music, including Song of the Year for My Heart Will Go On.
And it's now officially preserved.
Yep, added to the U.S. National Film Registry in 2017. Culturally, historically, aesthetically significant. The AFI ranks it high on multiple lists too, like #6 epic film.
And it keeps making money through re-releases. The 3D conversion in 2012 was a huge deal.
Massive undertaking. Took 60 weeks, cost $18 million just for the conversion.
And led to that amazing story about the stars.
Neil deGrasse Tyson, yeah, the astrophysicist. He pointed out that the Starfield Rose sees when she's floating on the debris was inaccurate for the date and location.
And Cameron actually fixed it.
He did. For the 3D re-release, he got the correct star map from Tyson for the North Atlantic, April 15, 1912, 4:20 a.m., and completely re-rendered that shot.
That's commitment to detail, even after 15 years.
It really is. And that 3D re-release added another $343 million to the total gross. Then they did it again for the 20th and 25th anniversaries in 4K.
Which brings us inevitably to the door.
Ah, the door. Or the piece of paneling, technically. Could Jack have fit? The debate that will never die.
It went beyond internet forums, right? Mythbusters tackled it.
They did. And Cameron himself finally commissioned a proper forensic study for a National Geographic special in 2023.
And the scientific verdict.
The conclusion was, maybe, survival was possible but unlikely. It depended on a lot of factors. Could they have tied Rose's life jacket underneath for extra buoyancy? Could they have balanced well enough to keep most of their bodies out of the freezing water? It wasn't a simple yes or no.
But Cameron, the filmmaker, has his own answer.
Always has. He maintains Jack had to die for the story. The tragedy, the sacrifice, the permanence of that loss, that's the point of the ending. The narrative demanded it, regardless of physics.
So it really comes back to that blend, the meticulous history, the engineering, the research.
Driving the massive cost and scale.
Mixed with that powerful, simple, archetypal romance.
Exactly. That's the synthesis. That's why it worked. Despite the production chaos, despite the skepticism, it tapped into something universal through both historical fascination and emotional connection.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener, to chew on.
Okay.
The real Titanic was this pinnacle of Gilded Age technology. State-of-the-art engineering, communication, luxury, everything designed with immense confidence.
Utter confidence in technology.
So considering that, what does the ship's catastrophic failure, and you could add the failure of the nearby Californian to even understand or react properly, what does it all reveal about human overconfidence? About our faith in the systems we build, maybe even then, maybe even now.
That's a deep one. That question of hubris and technology, it definitely still resonates, doesn't it? Over a century later.
It certainly does. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the truly unsinkable story of Titanic.